Breathe in. The air tastes of crushed limestone and ozone. Close your eyes. Beneath the sand of modern rock, clay tablets. Wait, their cuneiform scars tell a story of beings who stepped from the sky. Turn the page. Open the Book of Enoch. 200 watchers descend upon Mount Hermon. Same timeline, same descent, same forbidden union with mankind. Two civilizations separated by deserts and centuries, echoing the exact same warning. Why does mainstream history draw a line between Sumerian myth and biblical prophecy? And what happens when you realize they're the same story, written by different hands? The Sumerians called them Anunnaki, those who from heaven came to earth. Not metaphors, not allegories, a ledger of arrival. They mapped their descent in star charts, dated it in reigns of kings. But scroll east into the mountains of ancient Lebanon, and the name changes. The Watchers, the Ejigi, 200 celestial entities who swore an oath on the summit of Hermon to descend, to mingle, to teach what was never meant for mortal hands. The transition is subtle, then absolute. They arrived as messengers. They stayed as rulers. Clay seals depict them holding rod and ring symbols of cosmic authority. Their eyes are too wide, their shoulders too broad. They didn't just visit, they governed. And as their footprints pressed into the mud of Mesopotamia, the ancient texts whisper of a second descent, not from the sky, but from the flesh. But if they came from the same heavens, bearing the same mission, why do the oldest records suddenly shift from celestial visitors to earthly kings? And what were they building when the first human looked up and asked, "Who made you?" If the architects of your earliest civilization weren't divine, what were they? Genesis calls them the Nephilim, the mighty men of old. The Watchers, bound by oath, took human wives. From that union came a generation that defied nature. The texts don't call them children, they call them anomalies, beings of impossible stature, carrying a hybrid vitality that shook the ancient world, from the Greek Titans to the Polynesian Maoris, from the Hopi star beings to the Celtic Fomorians. The memory of giants is not a local myth, it is a global echo. But the Sumerian record goes further. They speak of the Lulu, a worker class, not born, forged. The Anunnaki, the texts claim, required laborers to mine, to till, to maintain. So they adjusted the clay. They mixed the blood of heaven with the dust of earth. Humanity, according to the oldest tablets, was not an accident of evolution. It was an engineered solution. Yet, if mankind was crafted for service, how did we suddenly learn to smelt ore, track constellations, and raise stone monuments that still baffle modern engineers? The answer isn't in our hands. It's in what they left behind. When you look at your own reflection, do you see a creature of divine breath or a blueprint written in genetic code? Follow the gold. The Anunnaki didn't want it for wealth. The tablets speak of atmospheric dust, of a shimmering shield for their homeworld. They needed precision, they needed scale, and they got it. Look at Baalbek. Stones weighing 800 tons, moved without roads. Puma, Punku, interlocking andesite blocks cut with laser-like precision. The Great Pyramid, not a tomb, a resonant chamber. These are not the works of a Bronze Age labor force. They are the fingerprints of a civilization that understood frequency, geometry, and gravity as tools. The Book of Enoch confirms it. The Watchers didn't just breed giants. They taught metallurgy, cosmetics, astronomy, the making of weapons, and the reading of omens, knowledge that fractured human innocence, and then the silence falls. The 19th and 20th centuries are littered with reports. Giant femurs, elongated skulls, mass burial sites near mound cities, excavations that made newspapers, and then vanished into institutional vaults. The Smithsonian archives, the Vatican sub-basements. Meanwhile, a strange genetic marker persists. Rh negative blood, a lineage that cannot synthesize its own antigens. Some call it a mutation. Others call it a residue, a biological signature of something that wasn't entirely human. But if the physical giants were erased from the historical record and their technology buried beneath layers of official denial, what triggered the sudden global reset that washed them all away? And who held the floodgates? What happens to a species when its creators decide it has become too dangerous to remain? The tablets name them Enki, Enlil, brothers of the same celestial house, but fractured by purpose. Enki, the architect of life, the protector of the Lulu, the keeper of forbidden waters. Enlil, the commander, the strict enforcer, the voice that demanded order and purity. Their conflict is the blueprint of all later spiritual wars. Light versus shadow, mercy versus judgment. The creator who whispered against the commander who shouted. When the hybrid offspring multiplied and the noise of mankind grew too loud, Enlil made the decree, a reset, a cleansing, a deluge to wash the earth clean. But Enki warned his favorite Zeusudra, Utnapishtim, Noah. He told him to build the vessel. He saved the seed. The floodwaters rose. The cities of the Nephilim drowned. The brother war went silent beneath the mud. Yet, when the waters receded, humanity didn't forget. We just translated them. The Anunnaki became the Olympians. The Watchers became the fallen angels. Enki became Prometheus. Enlil became Jehovah's wrathful hand. The same drama, dressed in new names, the same war, fought in temples. But if the physical bodies of these rulers were broken by the flood, and their war was buried beneath theology, does a lineage truly die when its architects simply change form, or do they retreat, waiting for the orbit to close? Are we living in the quiet aftermath of a divine war, or the silent continuation of one? The Sumerian star catalogs speak of a dark wanderer, a celestial body on a long elliptical path. 3,600 years to complete a single circuit. Nibiru, Planet X, the home of the Anunnaki to the ancient astronomers. It was not a myth, it was a clock, and the hands are still turning. Some say the Nephilim were destroyed. Others say their bloodlines went underground, weaving themselves into royal houses, priestly castes, and hidden dynasties. The flood didn't erase them. It forced them into the architecture of power, into the rituals that survived, into the modern shadow that watches from the periphery of global events, economic shifts, and technological leaps. The evidence is fractured. The history is edited. But the pattern remains undeniable. From the skies of Sumer to the mountains of Enoch, from engineered workers to global cover-ups, from brother wars to orbital returns, the story isn't about gods and monsters. It's about origin and control. So I leave you with the only question that matters. Do you believe we are the product of divine creation or ancient genetic engineering? Drop your theory below. If the archives are lying, the truth lives in the comments, and if you want the next piece of the puzzle exposed, subscribe. Welcome to the deep dive. The voices from history are finally speaking.